A very good evening to all of you. Welcome to yet another edition of the Leadership Lecture Series. We have with us today Professor Anant Agarwal. He is currently a professor of electrical engineering and computer science in MIT. He was formerly a director of CSAIL, Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory at MIT. He is the CEO of edX. He also holds a Guinness World Record. He has a PhD from Stanford University, but most importantly, he is an alumnus of IIT Madras. He received his Distinguished Alumnus Award for 2014 today in a ceremony at the director's office. So without further ado, it is my great pleasure to invite Dr. Anant Agarwal to give his lecture today.
I'm not sure as a professor I need audio help. We professors are so full of hot air, we can make a lot of noise without any audio-visual contraptions. So it is my real pleasure to be here and spend some time talking with you about education. And it's absolutely shocking that in today's age, education is such an exciting topic. The year when I was graduating from IIT in '82, I think 5 people may have showed up for an education talk. Education was not exciting, education wasn't sexy. I think today education is very exciting and a lot of things have changed. So I'm really delighted to see that there's so much interest in the subject. The other interesting thing, a little factoid for all of you, I was just told a few hours ago that this year is the 50th anniversary of IIT, and IIT was founded in, so I calculated back. And so I said, so IITs must have been founded in 1959. And turns out I was born that year as well. So this is, I didn't realize, I just figured out today that I was born the same year that IIT Madras was founded. So it's just doubly delightful for me. Let me just make sure, there's a watch there, perfect. So today I'll be discussing education and MOOCs and online learning. But before I do that, I want to show you something interesting. So any of you have done any internships at MIT? I know one or two of you I've heard are going to be going there for the summer. But MIT has this long infinite corridor. It's this long corridor that goes on and on and on and on. So I was walking down the infinite corridor on July 18 of 2013, and I saw this picture on one of the screens at MIT. It said, "Should we rethink the 4-year system of residential education? Be bold, join the conversation." And so what is amazing is that even places like MIT are thinking about how should we change, how should we think about education. And if you think the whole 4-year degree program is very sanctified, remember when I graduated in '82, it was a 5-year degree program. And I remember people were really arguing, should we make it 4 years? And a lot of professors and students thought if you make it 4 years, it will be a complete disaster. But we made it 4 years and everything is fine. So the question now is, should education, instead of being a 4-year program, be a shorter program, maybe 3 years or 2 years, and you do the rest online? So there are a lot of these conversations happening as we speak. So the real challenge is that education is one of those things that really hasn't changed in a whole lot of years. So everything around us has completely changed. So this is a classroom of MIT from 50 years ago. And guess what? You come to MIT, the classroom will look exactly like this. I promise you, I was in EE. I went to my classroom today after 34 years. And you know what? It was identical. Nothing had changed in 34 years. How many things do you know in the world today that haven't changed in 34 years? So let's take some examples. So, and this is just 34 years, but education hasn't changed in 500 years. So let's look at some, I want you to think back, and I want you to pick any field. Let's pick, shall we say, communications. So in your mind, what have been the big innovations in communications in the past 500 years? Yell out the answers. Telephone, okay, good. What else? Internet, yep. What else? Mobile, yep. Wireless. So the list goes on and on and on. We could be here. Okay, I want you to think about the same 500-year period. And think of the biggest innovations in education in 500 years. You get my point. One of the biggest innovations was the printing press, but that happened a little over 500 years ago, so that doesn't count. That was a really big innovation. And then in 1862, blackboards were invented, and the chalk was invented. But really, not much else has happened, and education has stayed about the same. So our goal is to see, can we really reinvent education and bring to bear technology to education in much the same way that we've applied technology to every other field known to mankind. So this is how students learn today. This is my daughter, Anisha. She's 15 years of age. And I promise you, this is how this is how our kids learn. This is how you learn, I guess. And you won't believe this. One day I was passing by her room, and she had 3 screens in front of her. So she had a laptop, and she was doing some physics, web of science, something or the other. And then she had swiped my mini iPad, and she was watching Netflix on it. And then she has a little iPhone, and she was doing, I said, what are you doing? She said, oh, I'm WhatsApping with my friends, and we're solving some problems. So 3 screens. I said, you're nuts. Your brain will go completely mush if you do this. So she looks at me and says, Dad, your generation can't do this. We can. And the funny part is, when teenagers, when they, particularly in the US, I'm not sure how it is in India today, but in the US, teenagers, when they become 13 or 14, they stop speaking English. They speak this new language that I call Teenlish. Teenlish it's a digital language. It has 2 sounds, a grunt and a silence. Now you talk to the teenagers, and it's a grunt, or complete silence. And then one day I discovered that if you text them, they respond right away. So I couldn't believe it. I texted my daughter. She responded. I said, whoa, she must have dropped her phone, and the text must have happened by accident. So I texted her again. Instant response. So after that, we have no problem communicating as long as we text. If I call her, she will say, why are you disturbing me? But your text is perfectly OK. So all of you feel like this? Raise your hand if you feel like this. There you go. So I guess in India, you're still willing to take phone calls from your dad and mom. So, but in the US, so a whole generation has changed. But still, we teach them the same way. And the whole system is still the same kind of system. So, so our goal at edX was to completely transform and reinvent education. So edX is a nonprofit. So education is a human right. And if we believe in education being a human right, then everybody should have access to it. We should transform it. So we felt it was really important to do it as a nonprofit. Okay, there are other MOOC providers that are for-profit, but we felt it's very critical that we do this as a nonprofit so we can make decisions completely with the right motive in mind. So edX was funded by, founded about 3.5 years ago, launched by Harvard and MIT with a $60 million investment. And we had 3 goals in mind. One is to expand access to education to students around the world. A lot of people who don't have access to a good quality education. Second was we wanted to improve education on campuses. And this goes to my point that education hasn't changed in a long time. How can we really improve education for the better? How can we apply technology to make education simply a lot better than it is today? More engaging, more fun, and higher quality. We want to advance research. So we are gathering the big data of learning on edX. We capture every mouse click, every piece of data. And I'll show you some research results where we can view our platform as a particle accelerator for learning, and we can gather this huge amount of data and improve how learning happens. So these are 3 of the big goals of edX. So the rest of this talk, I'm going to spend some time very quickly addressing all three issues. The way edX works, we partner with some of the best universities in the world. Universities like MIT, Harvard, Berkeley, Caltech, there's ETH in Zurich, McGill, University of British Columbia, IIT Bombay is also a partner. From India, it's IIM Bangalore and BITS Pilani. And we are talking to a few other IITs. And we are really hoping that other IITs, including my own alma mater, will collaborate with us in improving education. So we'd be very excited to make that happen as well. So university partners create courses, and they offer courses on our platform for students all over the world. And we also host the platform for campus use so that the professors can use the platform to create blended models of learning on the campus by combining online and in-person. So do these sorts of experiments and also do research with the data. And I'll talk about all of these things briefly. So let me start with expanding access to a quality education. So first of all, let me share some numbers with you. So today, we have, actually this number is a little old. We have about 4 million students from 196 countries. So if you know your quizmanship, that's every single country in the world. About 11 million courses have been taken in these past 3 years. We have 450 courses in a number of languages, a lot of humanities courses, of course, engineering, sciences. We have 70 partners. And our partner universities, when they create a course, they not only offer the course as a MOOC, a massive open online course, but they also teach it very commonly on campus as a blended class. And I'll talk about some of those examples. So one of the reasons MOOCs became so popular is the sheer numbers, the massive numbers by which students have been enrolling in these courses. So as one example, the first course on edX was a course on circuits and electronics. The number is 6.002 at MIT, and at edX, we attach an X to everything. When we launched the course, without any marketing budget, before we knew it, we launched the course, and in the first hour, 10,000 people had registered for the course. We had no idea how students find, how they found it. 10,000 had, and before we knew it, 155,000 students had signed up for this course, and it's absolutely shocking. This is a hard course. It's an MIT hard course. It's as hard as the kind of circuits and electronics that you will learn at IIT. It's also, it has calculus, differential equations, complex analysis as prerequisites. 150,000 students signed up for the course. So in terms of statistics, you'll usually see for these MOOCs, you'll see a decline in terms of engagement, which is pretty typical. And again, remember, this was an MIT hard course. So about 2/3 of the students, actually about half the students, 70,000 of the students, attempted a problem. Okay, so about half of them tried a problem. About 2/3 at least watched a video. And by the time the numbers went down until about 7,200 students passed and got a certificate from MIT X. So we attach an X to anything branded edX. So but this was really, really remarkable where this many students passed the course. So these are big numbers. So this number, for example, is bigger than the total number of alumni of MIT in its 150-year history. So the MIT president was saying, oh my God, one course, and more students have taken this course from MIT X course than in the history of MIT on campus. 7,200 passed the course. So at MIT, I teach this course every semester. And on average, I teach about 200 odd people a year. So I would have to teach at MIT for 35 years before I would teach this many students that graduated from this course. And trust me, this is a hard course. I taught the exact same course, identical on campus in a blended model. Same exams, same course, same videos, same exercises, same problem sets, same quizzes, same final exam, identical on campus. And so I would pit a student that passed this course against an MIT student that also passed this course all day long. It's the same thing. So these online courses today can be very high quality. And I'll show you some examples of how we can make very high quality courses. We've gone so far beyond video and multiple choice, you won't even believe it. But much more than these big numbers, to me what's exciting is the stories from individual learners. Every learner, we have, as I said, 4 million learners on the platform. Every single learner has an amazing story. So one of my favorites is actually Khushbakt. So Khushbakt is actually a housewife in Pakistan. She's from Peshawar. So she was married in 9th standard. And so she stopped her high school and she got married, and she's now about 25, and she quit school when she's in 9th standard. So she found edX and she began taking courses. The first course was a Harvard course from Michael Sandel on justice. And she wrote to us saying, I'm so excited, I'm getting my education again, and my husband is very supportive, and I'm taking edX courses and I'm really enjoying it. So just amazing stories with students. Another student from India, Amol Bhave from Jabalpur. So he takes the circuits course. He does really well. He's 15. He applies to MIT and he gets admission and full financial aid, and now he's in his I think he's in his second year at MIT now. So students can take these courses, they're getting certificates, they're succeeding, and for many of them, it can be life-changing. Many of the students that pass the courses get a certificate, put it on the resume, put it on the LinkedIn profiles, put it on Facebook. They apply for a job, and many of them are writing to us telling us that they're getting jobs based on demonstrating that they've done really well in some of these courses. And I'll show you, I'll talk a little bit more about certificates in a second here. So we have students can audit the course. If they pass the course, they can get a free honor code certificate. Now, we also have an ID verification service, and if they sign up for the ID verification service, they get an ID verified certificate that has a small fee attached to it. So that's one of our revenue models. So between $25 to $100, they pay a fee, they get verified, and they get a verified certificate if they pass the course. Each certificate, so we've been giving these certificates for 3 years now. From the very first course, we've had these certificates, and that was the hardest thing with the universities, for them to be able to cross the hurdle that they're willing to put the university logo on a certificate from the university for an online course. It was very, very, very hard for universities to do that. Let me tell you another story. When textbooks first came out, the printing press was invented in the middle 1400s. So when textbooks first came out, and books, the printed books first came out, there was a huge uproar. You know from whom? From monks. Do you know why there was a big uproar from monks? They said, nobody's going to want this book with all this typewritten stuff. Every letter looks the same, and it's all uniform and standard, and none of this beautiful calligraphy where every book, monks used to hand copy stuff. So their job was to copy books. And everything was customized, and they said, no one's going to use this. And then when people began liking books, the monks went on strike saying, wait a second. So in many respects, the universities were very concerned. We don't want to give a certificate for something that may not be as good. But we convinced them that, look, this is good stuff. This can transform universities even on the inside and not just in terms of the outside. And so they've agreed to give certificates. And here you see a certificate from Berkeley. This is for a course titled Software as a Service. This is Armando Fox's SaaS course. Each certificate also has a URL and a UUID. It's a 128-bit ID where if they give the certificate to an employer, the employer can click on this UUID, and the employer can see a digitally signed, authentic version of the certificate which edX maintains. So they can make sure that the student is not giving them some fake stuff. It is indeed the true certificate. So we also launched X series. So these are individual courses. At the same time, many employers and students told us, I'm pretty happy with one course, but how about giving me a sequence of courses? How about giving me a sequence of courses in computer science or in logistics or in aeronautics? So we launched a bunch of sequences of courses. There's over a dozen sequences on edX and growing, where think of a sequence of courses as a minor program, or think of it as a program where they can learn about a field as opposed to just taking one course. And those are very popular as well. So one thing we found that was very interesting was that for the free courses, as you might expect, the pass rate is about 5%. However, the moment a student puts some skin in the game and even pays $25 for a verified certificate and commits to passing the course, you want to see the numbers of the pass rate? Shoots up to 60%. And do you know why 60% is a big number? The pass rate for students across all the universities and colleges in the United States, if you take the average across all of them, residential colleges, it's 60%. So this is pretty remarkable that online, people can succeed with these rigorous courses and still, once they commit to it. The thing with the free courses, it's free, so it doesn't matter. You know, I clicked a button, I enrolled, hey, you know, I didn't have time, I'm not going to do it, it's too hard, forget it. But you know, here I'm going to, with some skin in the game, I'm going to struggle and pass the course. So as a nonprofit, one of the other things we did, as I said, we work with university partners to teach courses on our platform. But we can only work with a small number of universities. We train our partners, we work very closely with them, we share data with them, the research collaborations. It's very difficult to work for us to work with everybody that wants to work with us. And so over 5,000 institutions, close to 13,000 actually, have connected with edX, wanting to be partners with us. So we said there's no way we can partner with everybody. We just don't have the bandwidth. We are a small organization with about 130 people today. So what we did was we open sourced the platform. So we are a nonprofit, so we said we'll give away our platform. So we gave away our platform as open source. So you can go to OpenEdX, openedx.org, and it's a GitHub repository. You can just download our entire software for free. And you can take it and do whatever you want with it. And what's been amazing is since we launched the open source platform and gave it away, we've been astounded at the adoption of OpenEdX all over the world. So for example, you can go to Xuetang-X. There, the Chinese Ministry of Education launched a national platform along with Tsinghua University, and here are their courses. Fun is France Université Numérique. The French Ministry of Education launched a national platform using OpenEdX. Similarly, EDRAC in Jordan, Durub in Saudi Arabia, JMOOC in Japan, and the list goes on and on. A number of countries have launched national efforts using the OpenEdX platform, where they take the software, they host it locally. By hosting it locally, they get to maintain 100% control of the data. The content is theirs, the courses are theirs, the data is theirs, the platform runs on their local soil, it's not running in the US, it's completely under their control. And because it's open source, it's global, it's owned by the world. It's like, who owns Linux? You know, Linux is owned by the world. Who owns Apache? Who owns Django? Who owns, you know, MySQL? You know, it's a world software. Everybody owns it. And the beauty of this is everybody can contribute to it. Also remarkably, Stanford was building its own nonprofit open source platform because they really wanted to move away from the for-profits. And when they found out that edX was open sourcing it, they decided to work with edX. And now Stanford has become the single most biggest contributor to OpenEdX and development of the platform after edX itself. So if you go to so I encourage you to go to edX.org, of course, check out the courses. You can also go to the Chinese platform. And these are nothing to do with me, nothing to do with edX. They're completely independent. So we have spawned all these competitors around the world that you can go to and take all these great courses and have absolutely nothing to do with edX. Okay, many of them have verified certificates and you can give them money. We don't see a penny of the stuff. So our goal as a nonprofit was to simply do the right thing. So we said, let's just give away the platform so everybody can take it and do whatever they want with it. If China wants to do it, you got it. Anybody can take it and use it. And so we've seen widespread adoption all over the world. Free has that, I'm not sure what's this thing about free. It seems to have really a lot of power. People grab it and they can use it. So we've also benefited from it. So many other, so Google's also a partner. They've also been contributing to the platform. Excuse me. So today, this is also a little old. More than 70 instances of OpenEdX run around the world in 20 languages. There are 800 courses on OpenEdX. On edX itself, there's 450. So a total of over 1,000 courses in a large number of languages around the world. So how does edX benefit from open sourcing the platform? It's a lot of work for edX. Because when you give something away for free, it's not easy. people forget you gave it away for free, and they still come back to us and say, there's a problem here. You still have to support the community. So one benefit we have is that when people take the open source platform, they contribute features to the platform and really, really improves the velocity of the platform itself. So for example, Stanford has become our biggest contributor, and they've added adaptive hinting, e-commerce capability, and OLI integration. So there's a huge project at CMU, I think along with OpenCourseWare, NPTEL, and the CMU's OLI project, where in the last decade, last 15 years, I would say 3 of the biggest open learning projects in the world. And OLI was founded by Candace Still and others, and she's now at Stanford, and they're integrating a lot of their work into the edX platform. Google implemented a lot of features. They folded instant hangouts into edX, single sign-on. Edrock, this is the Jordan version, they added right-to-left support. So Arabic, you write right to left. So now edX supports Arabic. So I was in Israel the other day, and Israel said, but we'd love to use your platform, but they said, Hebrew is right to left. I'm not sure you guys can do it. So I told them, guess what? Your Middle Eastern neighbors built it. So I said, this is a Jewish state, but your Arab friends built right to left, and now you can use it too. So they very what shall I say? I said, they beat you to it. If you move fast enough, now maybe you can contribute something that they can use. Just imagine collaborating. Isn't that a new concept in the Middle East? So moving on. Next, let me talk about that's increasing access. So we're giving the platform away so people can take it and use it. And the main thing with that is we try not to maintain ownership of it so that people can use it. And just like Linux, it's a world platform. People can take it, and they don't have to start from scratch to build their own platform if they want to maintain control on their data. They can take this and they can help improve it and use it for themselves. Next, let me talk about how we work with our partners to improve education on our campuses. We certainly believe that universities have incredible value, and online learning can augment what happens in universities. So before I talk in details about that, let me talk about the platform itself and talk about what online learning looks like. How many of you already have, raise your, how many of you have already checked out a course or tried something on the edX platform? Oh wow, quite a few of you have. So you can go to edX.org and you can sign up and check out some of these courses for free. It's very easy to do that. So this is a course from Wellesley College. So Hillary Clinton went to this college. They're an edX partner. So they were teaching a course on Was Alexander Great? So let me first talk about some of the features of the platform. I won't spend too much time since many of you have already been there. So courses are organized by, we have a platform called Studio. It's a web-based authoring platform which you don't see, which makes it easy for professors to author courses. So they can organize courses by week or by chapter. In fact, any of you have taken the course on Greek heroes from Harvard? Raise your hand. So this is IIT. What do I don't expect you to take a course on Greek heroes. So they organize the course by hours. So it's 25 hours. So it's hour 1, hour 2. So they can organize courses in various ways. And the key is that we replace the lecture with what we call a learning sequence. So we created a UI element here, a ribbon here, that represents a learning sequence. There are no lectures. Instead of a lecture, what we have is in the learning sequence, the instructor can interleave various activities. Typically, interleave video with interactive exercises. So you can show a short video, followed by some interactive exercises, check your knowledge, then another video, and so on and so forth. And there's a sequence. In this case, you're watching a video. And so, the video, there's some text, maybe there's some exercise, and so on and so forth. And so it's a sequence of activities. And so this form of learning, where you interleave activities along with learning, really reminds you of the Socratic method of teaching. And learning science has proven that this will improve learning outcomes. So the Craig and Lockhart paper in learning in 1972 is a landmark paper in the field. It created a new form of learning called active learning. So if there's one concept, if there's one pedagogical underpinning of the edX platform, it's active learning. So someone says, what are the key concepts that embodies the edX platform for learning? It's active learning, and that improves learning outcomes. And the key, the UI element that I showed you, that enables professors to create these sequences of activity combined with videos and content distribution is active learning. And that's been proven to improve learning outcomes. So back to some of the videos. And initially, the videos were much like in many of the early open education resources, like at MIT's OCW or NPTEL or some of the early work. In many of these cases, the first thought was, let's stick a camera at the end of the classroom and videotape a professor giving a lecture. And so when movies first came out, the first thing they did was they had a stage play, and they would take a camera and record the stage play and play it back as movies. But today's movies are nothing like cameras in front of a stage, right? And today's movies are completely different, completely exciting and riveting, and it's just unbelievable. They've gone well beyond a camera stuck at the end of a stage play recording a whole play. They do things today in movies that you could not dream of doing in a stage play. So similarly, we are seeing that people do things even within the space of 2 or 3 years in classes that are absolutely unimaginable in terms of a lecture. I'll give you one quick little example that's a little silly. So this professor teaches history at Wellesley College. And what do you think he's doing here? Any guesses? So this is a course on was Alexander great? This is about Alexander the Great, and was Alexander great? What the heck do you think he's doing standing in the snow here? Any guesses? Pardon? Man, you guys are on top of everything here. Absolutely. So what he's doing, he's trying to show students around the world that Alexander's army had to encounter incredible hardships to get to India. And nobody had been able to get to India because of the Hindu Kush mountains. And there were snow-laden mountains. So he went in his backyard, and he was walking through the snow to say, look, this is hard. Now just imagine Alexander's army crossing the Hindu Kush mountains. So you can do things like this. So when's the last time you could show this in a classroom? It's something as silly as this. Now, you may laugh in India, but remember, we don't see snow in Madras, at least not when I left here. Okay? So this, in the last week, it snowed 4.5 feet in Boston. 4.5 feet in a week. Okay, so it snows. And but this is not a lot. But it's just one example, and people are doing all kinds of different things. So teaching can be really, really engaging. The next thing is that what you can do with online education is so here's a tablet capture video. It's a Khan style video. How many of you have seen any Salman Khan videos? Again, many of you. I'm a big fan of Salman Khan. So he was my student at MIT. And he's been a huge inspiration to all of us. So this is one of my videos in the class that I teach on circuits. And so I've called these videos KSVs. KSV stands for Khan Style Video. And so I tell people that this is the one case where the student has taught the teacher and really inspired me to do a lot of the things that we do. So the cool thing with these videos is that you can pause. So if you're a student, you can pause the video. Now, I'm not sure if you're like me, but when I was at IIT, I'd be sitting in class, and to me, 5-7 minutes was when I would look out the window, and I'm not sure that happens today, but sometimes a monkey would jump on the window when we were here. I'm not sure you've seen that happen. And it would happen pretty often. I would get distracted, and before I knew it, I'd come back, I've lost the teacher. And then I'm sitting there scrambling, taking notes, and so I'll figure it out before the period. So does that happen to any of you? Wouldn't it be nice if you could have paused the professor by just looked at the monkey? Wouldn't it be nicer if you could rewind the professor? By the way, I'm a professor, so I can crack professor jokes. Okay, you guys can't do that. So students are telling us that they love this because they can rewind the videos. And I asked my MIT students when I taught this class on campus, I said, what do you like about this? I said, we're rewinding 6-7 times sometimes. So we do an exercise. If we can't get the exercise, we go back and watch the video again. And then what they're also doing is they can fast forward. They can, in fact, just imagine, you can even mute the professor. And sadly, I discovered that my students would usually play me at 1.5 times the speed. Hit the mute button and read the transcript. How many of you do that? Oh man, this looks like this is a universal phenomenon. And I thought I talked fast. In fact, some students asked me, initially the edX platform had only 1.5x. So many students came and said, we want 2x. So we said, okay. So, so the self-pacing, and what is amazing is that, and this is not a joke, learning science has shown, the paper by Mayer in 2003 showed that students who were just able to hit the continue button were able to have better outcomes, learning outcomes than students who could not pace themselves. So a lot of learning science goes into some of these concepts. Where if you can pace yourself, you will do better. And which is why bringing online technology selectively into the classroom can improve what happens in the class as well. The next thing is instant feedback. The instant feedback is another big thing about learning, where usually when I was here, we would have tutorials, and we would get a tutorial sheet. It would never be graded, and so we would do it or not do it. It's very hard to grade. So what we do with online learning is that we can grade all kinds of problems, and I'll show you some examples of the kinds of things we can grade today. So here I'll show you a little video of our system grading chemical equations. So you can type in chemical equations, and the system grades it. So I'll show you a quick little video. So write a balanced chemical equation. They write the equation. Oops, they got it wrong. They try it again, they got it wrong again. Ah, they got it right. And a little green check mark appears. Students write to us telling us that they go to bed at night sometimes dreaming of this green check mark. This instant positive feedback is incredible. It brings an element of gaming into learning. And if you submit a homework and you get the homework back 2 weeks later, if you were like me, you didn't bother even looking at the homework, and you kind of forgot about it. But being able to check your answers and try it multiple times it's very much like video games. You're checking, you're trying to shoot down a spaceship or something, and you keep trying till you get it. That positive feedback is very helpful. And in fact, we knew at edX we had arrived when a green check mark got memed on the web. So the green check mark has reached meme status. And again, I'm an old guy, so I did not know what this meant. Someone showed it to me. And I said, wait a second, is someone insulting us? This looks pretty grumpy. And then my daughter said, wow, Dad, you got memed. I said, I got memed. What does that mean? Now, I know about shot, stabbed, yelled at, but what is memed? So apparently this is a web character, and maybe your generation knows about this, that apparently this is a good thing. So, so we have all kinds of problem types today. So we go well beyond multiple choice. So we can grade numerics. We can grade complete formulae. We can grade complete equations. We can do various kinds of text. We have image responses, so you can show you an image and you can click on a part of an image. We can do custom responses. You can write a little Python script to grade stuff. You can do drag and drop. We can do all kinds of simulations as well, where we can grade the result of simulations. So we have a circuit simulator as an example, where you can build circuits and we can grade circuits as well. So these assessments are where we spend extraordinary amounts of effort and time building. They're extremely expensive to build, but these provide the quality of education where I know the whole world has gone to hell in a handbasket. When we were doing IIT JEE, we had to write real equations. But today I hear it's all multiple choice. Now multiple choice is not that bad. It's pretty good. But just imagine if all your education was multiple choice. So we can grade all kinds of things today. Equations, we can grade simulations, we can grade virtual labs. So today's online education is not your grandfather's online education. This is amazing stuff. And this is why there's incentive to bring it back to campus so we can improve campus education at the same time. We can add external graders. We can grade all kinds of computer science stuff. Here's another example of virtual labs. So here's a chemistry, a little video showing you where you can build chemistry, chemical molecules, whether it's benzene or whatever else, and we can grade whether you got the molecule right. In fact, there's a course from the Kyoto University, where they used this, this molecule drawer to had their students use the molecule drawer to draw funny images. And they had the students take any of you take the course from Kyoto University, where they use this thing to draw pictures? Okay, none of you did. So they would ask them to take pictures of this and then post them on Flickr and then peer grade images as to who had the better image corresponding to a molecule. Discussion forums enable peer learning. So these are all instant feedback, peer learning, self-pacing, active learning. These are all the pedagogical underpinnings of this platform and why online learning can add to the campus experience. You can't do instant feedback on campus through manual grading. You can do active learning through the Socratic method, but here, because of Studio and the authoring platform, we just make it easy for professors to do it that way. The other thing we can do is we can help improve education as well. So you may ask the question, how do websites improve at incredible rates? Two things, A/B testing and big data. So websites are constantly being tested with A and B versions. So we can do the same thing for learning today. So on the edX platform, as learners, you don't know this, but as instructors, we do. An instructor can give you a common a video or something common, and then give you two pathways. In fact, we can give you 20 different pathways. And the platform randomizes students across the pathways, and you can give them a common assessment. And then you can see which pathway did better. And when tens of thousands of students sign up for a class, you get statistically significant results. So now you can say, oh my God, if I teach this concept showing them text as opposed to a video, students will learn better. So now I can just imagine professors, educators can become engineers. But you have to be very careful saying that, because to me an engineer is a good thing. In IIT, most of you are engineers, so I say that happily. But when I give a talk at more of a humanities-focused school, there's a gasp when I say professors, educators can become engineers. So, so to many of them, engineers may not be a really good thing. So, but engineers means that you can continually improve what you're doing and try to get better and better with your lessons. We make it very easy to author A/B tests. So a professor can very easily create a piece of content in Studio. So by clicking a button, you can add a problem, a video, or a discussion. You can plop a discussion forum near any problem, near any video, so students can have contextual discussions. And then you can mark content as A or B, or C or D or E, so that that content only gets shown to certain students. So make it very easy for professors to try these advanced features as well. We also work with many universities on the blended model. So at San Jose State University, they flipped the classroom using the edX circuits course. And students would watch videos and do the homeworks before they came to class. And in class, they would break up into groups of 3 and have discussions and do some quizzes. Amazing results. So traditionally, this course had a 41% failure rate at San Jose. With this flipped class, the failure rate fell to 9%. Similar pilot at community college, Bunker Hill Community College and Mass Bay Community College, where the courses were created by a university like IIT, but taught at a different university. And you can show that when it's hard to find good faculty in many colleges, you can create content in universities where the faculty are great, and then use that content in another university where they may not have a lot of faculty, and really improve the quality of education there as well. So a lot of people say, oh, come on, Professor Agarwal, you are out to replace teachers. No, absolutely not. So Jamie LaRue is a professor at Bunker Hill Community College, and she said, in terms of using this course, she said, if she had not used so she taught a Python course in her community college using the MIT course on Python. And she said, if not for the MIT course, I could never have taught a Python course at Bunker Hill. Similarly, she said, if not for her help in the classroom, her students would not have gotten through the course. So teachers are always going to be needed and to create the blended model. MIT has gone whole hog, so has Berkeley, into blended learning. At MIT today, this is slightly old data. So at MIT today, MIT has 4,500 undergraduate students. So today, 3 out of 4 undergraduate students are using edX in their classes in a blended model. in the space of 3 years. Finally, let me talk about research and how we can use the platform as a pedagogical particle accelerator. So we gather every single mouse click, all the data on the platform, and then we work with the partners and share the data with the partners who do research on learning and to see what works. So, so this is as of middle of last year, we had gathered 3 billion records of data. Today, 6 months later, at this point, we have close to 5 billion records of data, and we keep adding more and more records, and we share the data with the partners, growing exponentially. And a lot of interesting results come out. So one result that came out, let me ask you a question. So you see videos. Our classes are, they used to be what, 60 minutes, 1 hour? At MIT, some classes are 90 minutes. Lectures are 90 minutes. So the study was to look at what is the right length of video. Okay, so Philip Guo did a study. He plotted video length on the x-axis, and he did the study with 5 million edX videos from a number of universities and a number of courses. So video length from 3 minutes, 6 minutes, 9 minutes, all the way up to 1 hour. And the y-axis, he plotted student engagement. You know, how long were students engaged with the video? So, so based on that, I thought that the curve would go up linearly, and then it would saturate out. Once a video got longer than 20 or 25 minutes, I figured students would not watch much more. It would saturate out. The results were staggering. The results actually looked like this. So as videos got longer and longer, what he showed was the most engaged videos were 6 minutes long. When videos got longer than 6 minutes, students actually watched them less than when videos were 6 minutes long. So now we advise our partners, don't create 60-minute videos, rather create modular, bite-sized videos, 5 to 10 minutes long, and then intersperse them with activity so you can engage the students more. So we can learn things like this that we did not know about before. So with that, let me pause, and I'm happy to take some questions. Thank you. I think a microphone is going to be walking around.
Anant, my name is Krishnan, alumnus, close to your vintage. My question is, with a platform so powerful like this, how do you see the role of a teacher changing?
So the role of a teacher is going to evolve. I think what's going to happen today, and I've written a blog post about this in the Huffington Post. I wrote a blog called Unbundled. Today it's one size fits all. A teacher does everything. They write the textbook, they teach the class, they run tutorials, they answer questions, they grade homework, they create exams, they do everything. Why? Why don't we unbundle these tasks? Some teachers are great at giving lectures. Some teachers are phenomenal at creating very creative problem sets. Some teachers are really good at one-on-one interaction. And I know many professors that just don't like to lecture. They're much better in a small group discussion and interaction. I have another colleague, Jerry Sussman, who loves creating very creative problems. So in fact, in the circuits class that I teach, Professor Jerry Sussman, he created all the problems. He wanted to do that. He didn't want to do other things. He said, I want to work on that. And so what I see happening is I see unbundling. I see teachers focusing on things that they care about. And just as today, when I teach a class, you know, why should I write the textbook? Why not I use someone else's textbook and teach a class? So just as I'm comfortable doing that, we will find that people will use these courses as a new age textbook and work with their classes in very different ways than they've done with before. So I think I don't have a magic answer. I think people will teachers will experiment with different things and you know, try new things and see what works.
You showed a slide which showed alternative methods of imparting the same idea, either through text education, web-based courses, or video courses. And you said that certain things might work better with video and with do you have any more information on that? What kind of things work best with videos, and what kind of things work best with the web mode?
So my point there wasn't so much to compare text versus video. My point was to say that the platform enables A/B testing. So A/B testing is a technique all web companies use. So when you go to Amazon, they try to make you buy toothpaste. And so Flipkart and Amazon will do A/B testing to see what works, what will make you buy it. And so similarly, why can't we use similar advanced techniques of A/B testing to improve education? And so that was my point. Not so much whether, what works with video and what works with text. In fact, David Pritchard, who's a physics professor at MIT, he's actually looking at that question. He believes that for many topics, text is a better mode of teaching than video. But I'm not an expert in the field, so I can't give you a magic answer to that. But different professors are trying many different things. Some people are trying maybe teach the topic by discussion. Maybe in some cases, you teach the topic by asking questions. So there's all kinds of things that we will learn in terms of how to teach them best. Yes?
From the perspective of a learner, you showed that if they went for certificates, the pass rate went up much by a lot of points. Does it vary across, say, countries? Because I myself, when I try to learn by this method, I feel that a lot more discipline, self-discipline is required. So does the data vary on countries? Maybe I get a feeling that Western people are a lot more we in India maybe are a lot class-oriented from the start.
Now we have we have a lot of data. So it actually turns out that 30% of our learners are from the United States. The second highest country is India. So the next highest is 12.5% are from India. And then third falls to 4%. China, UK, Brazil are all 4%. So India is huge. This is extraordinarily popular in India. There's a huge thirst for this kind of knowledge, a huge demand. Do styles vary by country? So from some studies that I've done, I've seen one study looked at things like pass rates by country. And thankfully, they found that it was uniform across all the countries. It would not have been cool if they published data saying, this country does much better on circuits courses than this other country. That would be somewhat politically charged, I think. But that was, I think one of the things we do see is that the certification rate changes because certainly buying things, paying $50 is much easier for someone in the US than in India. Although with inflation, although with particularly in many fields, people are very capable of doing that. So at some point, we will have to introduce geo pricing or something like that. We just haven't done that yet. And so that for some countries, expense is an issue. Right now, we do payments by credit card. We're going to introduce PayPal, but many students don't have a credit card. So again, it's only 3 years, so these are early days. Education has been around for 500 years, so we have a few centuries to catch up. So with all that is possible. So.
Just a corollary to that question, how do we ensure that the questions are not being answered by proxy?
So the question has to do with cheating. How do you? I guess that's the question.
Yes.
So how do we make sure that people are who they say they are? And it turns out that there are very well-known techniques online as well. So we work with a company called Software Secure. So right now, we do ID verification. So we verify that you are who you say you are. So you have to show a government-issued ID, and you show your face, and we make sure that the two match, and your name matches. So you can't fool us into giving you a certificate called Donald Duck or something. That would be pretty embarrassing. So right now, it's ID verification. We don't do activity verification. Although Software Secure is a company we work with, they have an online technique to do activity verification as well, where they use the webcam, and while you do an exam or a test, they take not continuous video, which is too expensive in terms of bandwidth, but they take pictures every few seconds, and then they ship it. And then what they do is they have a huge team in India, actually. And they really have Indians, and hundreds of Indians will watch. They take this series of snapshots. Those are concatenated. So it gives the effect of a very high-speed video. They actually watch it to see if the student is cheating or not. So there are very well-known online techniques to check on cheating. But our view on this, at least so far, is that rather than make it harder and harder for students to sit down in front of a webcam and so on, at least for now, our thinking is that, look, if they want to cheat, go and cheat. When you go for an interview, you're going to get killed in the interview. So, it may help you open the door, but you're going to get caught. And most students seem to want to learn the material, and so it seems to be less of an issue. But once we begin giving, I think within the next year or two, I think credit is likely to start to happen, maybe even sooner. That's when some of those issues might become even more of an issue. Let me ask all of you this question. How important is credit? So right now you get a certificate, and that's pretty useful, I guess. But how important is credit? That is, you take a course, and that course will count as credit from a US university or from a foreign or an Indian university, where you can use that credit and transfer it to various other, to various places. So you get credit for the courses. How important is? How many of you raise your hands if you think credit is important? Wow. So we should work harder to get credit, right? Okay, that's good feedback. Any other questions? Yes. Infrastructure requirements?
Particularly the bandwidth capability of the systems.
So infrastructure requirements, so it's an interesting question, and I think all of these questions should be asked in comparison to what else. So I was with a team from the US about 1.5 years ago with John Kerry, visited the Indian Ministry of Education, and the ministry was talking about building 500 new bricks and mortar campuses. And my argument was, it's much cheaper to provide bandwidth than low-cost tablets to, 10 times as many students. It's much easier to provide bandwidth than to build a whole bunch of kinds of infrastructure. So in Africa, 4 times as many people have access to wireless bandwidth as have access to a school. So I think when put in perspective, very soon everybody will be connected. A large number of people already are, and we just came out with the edX mobile app for both the Android and the iPhone, so people can watch videos on the go or disconnected. So so my sense is that the infrastructure issues are much less of an issue than creating more bricks and mortar buildings. The question is that how do you grade open-ended questions, such as whether it's a short answer question that doesn't have an exact answer, or essay questions which don't have an exact answer, where it's an essay, so it's not can't do a text match. So we have a number of technologies. So on the platform right now, right this second, there's we have peer grading. So you submit an essay, and then you go and grade 3 or 5 other students, and then you come and see the grades from all the other students and their feedback on your essay. So that's a peer evaluation is one approach. And with that, you can grade text, you can grade images, you can grade videos, you can grade audio. But the second one is self-evaluation, you grade yourself. Third one we're just launching is instructor evaluation, which is that you can actually get someone to physically grade it, which is, again, doesn't scale. The fourth one, which we launched in pilot form, which we are improving now, is AI grading, which is very exciting. With AI grading, what you do is use machine learning. So you submit an essay, and the instructor grades the first 100 essays based on a rubric. Okay, says, okay, grammar, 2 points. Enticing lead-in, 3 points. Recognizing that the Taj Mahal was one of the ancient wonders of the world was 5 points. And so you have a rubric of points, and then you grade the first 100 essays against the rubric. The machine learner, the model learns from that, and then from 100 to 100,000, the machine learner can instantly grade them all. So you get instant feedback for essays as well. And that technique looks very promising, and many professors have used it and have written about it on edX. And if you're interested, I can point you to some of the studies on that. It's very promising.
You said as a non-profit, the ID verification is one of the revenue sources. So if some philanthropist comes and donates billions of dollars wherein you don't need this revenue model, would you still have this paid for verified thing because you said there's a 60% pass rate?
So as I said, edX is a non-profit, which means that any revenue that comes in is to fund our mission. It doesn't go to any individual. In a for-profit, it goes to individuals or shareholders or VCs, right? So to your point, the question was if someone comes and gives you as much money as you need to serve your mission, could you produce free certificates? Absolutely. So if someone were to come and say, we'll give you a donation to support free ID verified certificates, so you don't have to charge for these things, would you do it? We'll do it. Sure. So the question is, if it's a free thing, the pass rate is not as high. But there are ways of incentivizing people. So again, assuming that some kind soul comes and donates a bunch of money, then what you can do is you can say, all right, you put in $1 by $50. Put in $1. Okay, so maybe we haven't done a study. Is $1 enough or is $100 enough? I mean, so maybe just the act of putting some skin in the game and committing to it may be more important than how much money you put in. So another trick is you can say, okay, you put in $50, and then if you pass the course, we'll give the money back to you. That'll give you a double incentive to that. But so the reason we would have done that, the reason we did not do that is that we were worried some professors would now make exams so hard that people don't pass. So all these gaming things that you worry about. So, but we're thinking about all these cool things. And as a non-profit, we can think about all these things. Where the goal is not to maximize money. The goal is to sustain ourselves. We just what comes in should go out, and we'll be very happy.
Sir, here. Sir,
sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I'm an undergraduate in electrical engineering. I have two questions. First of all, thank you for an informative lecture, sir. And I have two questions. One is, can someone become an expert in a particular subject using these online lectures compared to normal classroom learning? And second one is, what do you think about research kind of knowledge? Like, is it more? What do you think? Which do you think is more important, gaining research kind of knowledge or normal theoretical knowledge based on other theories? Yeah.
So to your first question, can a person become expert with online learning? So we launched X series on edX, which are sequences of courses in many fields. And so if you do a sequence of courses, you can become with high quality courses and good assessments. Yes, you can become an expert, but you have to be pretty self-motivated and so on to commit to it. So that's one. So yes, you can become. I'm completely bullish on online learning. The second one is what about research? I think when people ask me, so a campus is what will happen to the campus 50 years from now? I think campuses are very important because if all that a campus did was impart knowledge, then shame on us campuses. Campuses do a lot more than just imparting knowledge. Campuses build community where students work together, learn how to interact with each other, learn how to collaborate. They learn about research. They work with faculty, do research. They get inspired by faculty. But all kinds of stuff happens on campus that goes well beyond just imparting how Alexander crossed the Hindu Kush. I mean, because content can be got in many ways, but a lot more happens on campus, and research is one example of that. And it's not clear to me that being inspired with research and doing research can be taught online, much like content.
No, so my research was not with respect to edX. In general, what do you feel about? Importance of research and theoretical knowledge? Which do you think is more important?
Yeah, asking me to choose between my children. So both are important. So I think knowledge is important. I think research is important because research teaches creativity and investigating. With research, oftentimes the key challenge is knowing what the right question to ask. And so that is a very important skill. Yes?
You actually answered my second question, which is the campus thing. The first question is, do you see this as a truly disruptive innovation? There's lots of stuff on disruptive innovation nowadays.
The question is, do you see this as a disruptive innovation? I don't like to use the word disruptive innovation because disruptive is scary. I like to use the word transformative. Transformative says that we're going to improve. I really do believe that, I really think that online education is going to be completely transformative to education. And so much so that I've certainly put my own personal stake into it. I completely quit my director job, I quit my research, quit my teaching. This is all I do as a nonprofit. So I really believe that we can truly make a big difference in the world for the better. I think we can improve education on campuses. I think we can increase access to learning for a lot of students. Today, what? 1% of students get into IIT? I mean, just imagine if through online learning we could provide access to great teachers like you have at IIT to a much larger number of students around the country. That's a good thing. What if we can improve the education even on the best campuses like IITs and Harvards and so on? Why not? Why not improve education? I mean, things haven't changed in 500 years. We can do better. So I think online education can definitely transform education for the better.
We'll be taking 2 last questions. After that, we'll have to wrap up.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So a big challenge to online learning is the question is, students like to be motivated to do stuff, and the certificate at the end of a course is a motivating factor. So you work hard when going gets tough. The certificate will keep you going, right? So so the question was, is edX doing anything to make the certificate of greater value with the employers or with others? So yeah, so we're doing a number of things, but it's slow going because employers still today, many of them still, the first thing that comes to mind is a degree. So we've done many pilots. So we work with an organization, a grassroots organization called Launch Code in the US that is working with CEOs of big companies, educating them that these alternative credentials are equal or better than many of the traditional credentials. We're working with the organizations in India. How many of you have heard of Aspiring Minds? Many of you have. So we're working with Aspiring Minds, where they have placed a number of students who've taken edX courses and gotten a certificate, and they've helped them get jobs where companies have highly valued an edX certificate. So I think as more and more people get hired, this will help. Many people are posting their certificates on their LinkedIn profiles, and there's a recent survey done by an organization called, I forget the name of the organization. They did a recent survey of employers, and they found that 70% of the employers that they surveyed said that they will value a certificate in their interview. That is, they'll value the certificate when they look for learners to interview. So it's definitely the case that is happening. We want to try to encourage that even more in the future. The question is, are there any quality constraints that you impose on courses? One is, by working with prestigious universities, they are worried about their own brand, so they'll be careful about the quality of their own courses. But are there other steps that you're taking? Absolutely. We have a number of institutions on our platform, and so what we've done is we've recently built something called the MDC. So we're now getting a lot of experience with teaching online. So we built what is called the MOOC development checklist. It's a 20-point checklist. We shared that with the university partners. And if they don't pass all the bullets on the checklist, we will not put their course on edX. So you will see that when you come to edX, the courses are of, by and large, good quality. You will not see a lot of junk on edX. And the reason is that courses have to pass development checklist. In fact, when some universities, the professors are looking to move their courses from a different platform, a MOOC platform, onto edX, we actually not allowed those courses on edX because they were lacking many of the features that are needed for a quality course.
Okay, we'll take one last question.
Yeah. Is there any statistics available?
Okay.
Is there any statistics available for the regular course admission based on the MOOCs passing? Like people who have passed the MOOCs courses, are they able to get regular admission in universities? Is there any statistics?
So far, the question is, MOOC success to admissions. Anecdotally, we've heard a lot of stories where students who've done well have gotten admission. And if I remember right, has any of you seen a recent admissions, a student admission form at MIT? Someone told me that MIT's admissions form now talks about ask as a special line item, what MOOCs have you taken? So I'm hearing universities do that. I also know that there's international rating agencies like QS, which rate universities. They're also looking at university presence and their MOOCs and outreach as part of evaluating universities themselves as well. And I know that in many countries, universities want to improve in rankings and so on, numerically, and their performance in MOOCs and their outreach is now being considered as one of the factors.
Okay, can we have a round of applause for Dr. Agarwal?
Thank you. Thank you.
May I now request our Dean of International and Alumni Relations, Professor Nagarajan, to present a memento to Dr. Agarwal.